Gamers, gals, and my non-binary pals. Empty out your wallets, break your piggy banks, and get a third mortgage on your house. Today, we are here to talk about, or to be more specific, debate about this card in particular. Because Dyer, good friend and even better editor sometimes, shoutouts to Nux talking videos, posted a little tweet the other day. Tweet, tweet, tweet. Like the bird. I'll say it, Fuwalos is gonna be garbage. Just like how everyone hyped out crossout only for it to do nothing. If you buy out this card for hundreds, then I have a plot of land to sell to you. Now, you may be thinking, alright, classic Dyer engage bait post. But people saying this is bait or I'm trying to tank the price. No, I genuinely think this is a bad card. If you're playing it, you're making your deck worse and are a bad player. First of all, let's just get a little refresher on what Fuwalos actually does. If you control no cards, you can discard this card, apply these effects this turn. Each time your opponent special summons a monster from the deck or extra deck, immediately draw one card, and yeah, this bottom line of text does not matter. It will never come up, ever. Basically, this applies to so many fucking scenarios. It interacts with Phantom of Yubel, it interacts with the Feedsmith combo, it interacts with popping Yubel, it interacts with Chandra. I mean, like, if they're summoning Chandra from deck, then fucking whatever. You probably died anyways if 10-5s get into the battle phase. It stops the Snake Eye effects, it stops OSS. It's just so good. It's just crazy. The OCG has Maxi and still plays this at 3. That should just tell you everything you need to know about Fuwalos. The fact that this is a main decked card in a format with Maxi legal should just tell you, like, yeah, like, this card might be like 10% worse, but it's still like the craziest fucking card of our lives. Now, I'm gonna give you my quick takes regarding Fuwalos. And I think this card is definitely broken. I think this card is gonna be like $120 post day one prices. You know how like pre-release prices will be like $160, $170, $150, $210 for some reason? This is a card that I think after those pre-sale prices is gonna hover around $110 to $120. We've seen it before with like Phantasme, and that card only drew you 2 cards. Phantasme wasn't even that good compared to Fuwalos.
Oh, your opponent has a special summon from the extra deck and it's just a vanilla.
Yeah, well, in the context of fucking Yu-Gi-Oh at the time, that shit was fucking broken. But now, when we look at Fuwalos definitely falls under this umbrella as well, just because decks have been designed to be summoning from the extra deck and main deck so incredibly fucking much. It's not even funny. Like the past like 4 to 5 years even. Like let's just like pull up some random archetypes. Drytron summons like 3 to 4 times out of the extra deck, maybe 5 times if you like open Drytron Nova. Kashtira is a deck. Like, if we want to talk about old Kashtira, we had Diablosis, we had Theosis, and we had Shangira, and we also had a Rise Heart. Every fucking tutor card. Just every single one. Every single one of these cards summoned out of the extra deck. Let's look at Sprite. We have Gigantic Sprite, Sprite Starter. We have Sprite Sprin to send your Anglers. And by the way, those Anglers are also going to summon some Beavers out of the deck. And let's not forget, the Beavers also summon Hero. This is like the summon out of the deck of all time. Master Duel UI looking a little different. Hey, suck my I just stream under the Master Duel category. It's just easier. Let's look at Sun Avalon. You summon Dryas, you summon Twin, you summon Healer. Do you still play Milius? Like sometimes, right? You got Sowing. There's so many decks that it's so frustrating to go against like Fuwalos. And you're just like, well, I guess I'll go myself. And just the fact that most of those archetypes I just listed came out like 3 to 5 years ago and still have practical applications for Fuwalos to be used against them is definitely very telling of how Konami wants to design its archetypes in the future. Again, think of the staircase model where every couple years we have this weird little reset where we go up 2 stairs, we go down 1 in power level, then we go up 2 stairs, then we go down 1 in power level after a ban list, then we go up 2 levels, and it's just like this infinite fucking squiggly line. Did you know that Live Twin special summons 6 times? Yeah, it's like Twin summons the other twin, so that's 1. And then you go into pink, and then pink revives blue, and then you go blue revive, and then blue, so that's 3. Then blue revives pink, and then pink draws a card, and then you go into the big one, and then you go Feedsmith combo. So that's like 5 bajillion trillion summons. Dyer, this is the please reduce the cost of this card tweet. Crossout has since been a very powerful card. The initial release of Crossout had no use for like a year. To be fair, a lot of people, me included, also thought that Crossout was going to be a good card. It ended up being good, but not because Crossout was used as a defensive card. It was because we entered an extremely hand trap heavy format where people realized like, oh, decks are playing like like 20 plus going second non-engine, we just kind of have to start playing crossout again in order to protect our one card combos. Like Snake Eye is the prime example of it. Like Snake Eye is like the one and greatest example regarding a deck abusing crossout, where it's like, yeah, this engine is extremely susceptible to interruption, but if that interruption doesn't go through, FTK, it is a good card. Thank you, Dual Logs. Very pog. It's heavy dependent on the format. If you have one card combos, you can play crossout. Well, good thing, based on the past fucking year of Yu-Gi-Oh! And card design, one card combos are definitely here to fucking stay. Dire, we might just be kindred spirits. I think this card is deceptively fine, like situationally strong, but not nearly as applicable as people seem to think. I'm down to be proven wrong, but I'm definitely not seeing it as an absolute hardline card to buy and play. It doesn't have to be a card that is like,
oh, this is like the greatest card of all time. It drew me like 10 trillion cards and I'm eating like 500 hot dogs.
The thing is, Fuwalos threatens with the ability for your opponent to draw into not only more outs, but more outs for your outs when you eventually pass your turn. If all Fuwalos did was just draw one hand trap and one extender, that would still be extremely fucking good, because not only do you have to deal with one more form of interruption, you still have to have an extra piece of interaction for your opponent's extender. Like, one card in meta decks is so fucking impactful, it's not even funny. A hand with like one Snake Eye Ash is kind of fucking penis mad, but a hand of Snake Eye Ash and Fiendsmith, that's pretty crazy. Gonna accept this L when I'm wrong, but this card is only super strong against rogue decks. Meta decks aren't gonna have a very hard time playing around it, and it will just clog up decks that already don't need any more non-engine. It'll be a spicy tech, not a staple. Alright, I accept your challenge. What are the meta decks? We've got Yubel, Tenpai, Whitewood, we've got Ritual Beast, we've got Lab, we've got Chimera, and we've got like Plant Link and Snake Eye and Pearly and 5 trillion other cards. Let's take a look. Yubel, we already mentioned how this deck is super reliant on Phantom of Yubel and the Fiendsmith stuff, and a lot of complementary stuff, things like Necroquip and Aerial Eater and Muckracker, and when scenarios you need to like send the Samsar Logs and revive it. Like, this is a deck that definitely cannot fucking play around it without just being like, I will pass. Plant Link, again, we talked about Sun Avalon and how just the Sun Avalon engine alone basically requires you to summon a bajillion fucking cards from the main and extra deck. Tenpai, I will admit, it's kind of poo-poo versus Tenpai, because Tenpai is only ever special summoning from the extra deck when you get to the battle phase, unless like they kind of have to like chew your board apart, in which case, like, if they're forced to go into the extra deck like pretty early, then it's not like the worst, like a bad upstart. And even if they just go Seals Pass, Fool is trading 1 for 1, it's still like not the worst card in the world. White Forest, this is, I think this might be worse than like Yubel. We have like White Child, we have all the runic stuff, we have all the synchro stuff, my Christ. We have Labyrinth. I mean, the fact that this also kind of works versus Labyrinth is actually insane. Like, think of like the Yama they make, think of the Unchained Soul of Rage they make, think of Big Welcome, think of Small Welcome. Voices Voice is like the one where it's actually useless versus, but let's be real, who the fuck is playing Voiceless Voice? Nobody fucking cares about Voices. Oh my god, it's Fiendsmith, Voiceless Voice. Okay, never mind. It might be a little useful. Let's look at Ritual Beast. First of all, you have the Laura summon, then you have the Flag summon, then you have the Corridor summon, then you have the Proto summon, then you have the Colossus, then you have the Colossus or Proto summon, I should be more specific. You have Canohawk 1, you have Canohawk 2, you have Nochi Drago, you've got Ulti Galapelio, you've got the Ulti Rediari, you've got Kumio Falcos, you've got Croshy. This deck has like 5 million special summons. You've got E-Telly, you are correct, Brandon Bozo. Let's look at Melodious. You've got First Movement Solo, you've got Ostinato, you've got Baka, and I forgot what her name is. Shapina? Among Us? Who cares? You've got Baka. You've got Flowery Toil. You've got Schuberta. You've got Bloom Harmonist. You've got Haggard Lizardos. For some reason. I don't know why this card is here. Again, let's look at Chimera. You've got the Mirror Sword Knight summon. You've got the 2 to 3 fusions that you're getting out of Chimera fusion. You've got the whole Fiendsmith combo line. Like, chat, I don't mean to say this, but the fact that we basically just went like 8 for 9 regarding these. Oh, by the way, no Memento. Is Memento even good? Oh, look, Fiendsmith cards. Oh, look, card that special summons a Memento from your deck. Oh shit, it also does twice. Oh shit, we also have 3 times because of fusion. Oh, and guess what? You're going to Twin Dragon, and then Creation King, and then also fucking Combined Creation, and then the Fiendsmith combo. That's like 5 summons. Like, chat, I know a lot of these are kind of technically carried by the Fiendsmith combo, but even if you look at like the in-engine stuff, that's like 2 to 4 summons just by itself. Like, I'm sorry, but you could say like,
oh, it's only gonna be be okay versus rogue decks. This card is not going to be that good because boards can play around it.
You can't play around your own deck. Your own deck, like Fuwalos is a card that punishes you for playing a good deck because it's just like, all right, you're going to either make your combo or you're going to end on a bunch of fucking vanillas and pass. Like, what does Memento look like if it tries to play around Fuwalos? I'm not even joking. What does it look like? Is it like hard? I don't even know what it would look like. I think it's literally impossible to summon anything in Memento without trying to special summon from the deck or extra deck and giving your opponent's cards. Same with like Fiendsmith, same with the Melodia stuff. It's just like, what do you do? Normal Jowgen set 4 pass response? You got me, homie. Handshake. I don't think this card is bad at all. This is 100% going to be a staple in the side deck for most decks. This is fucking main deck worthy. This is the best going second card in the game because it just makes going second super duper broken because you could draw into more extenders to play under your opponent's board. You could draw board breakers if you're playing something like Tenpai or a deck that can play stuff like Droplet and Talents. You could draw into more hand traps. Oh my god. You could draw into a second Multcharmy. That's twice per turn. It's actually pretty good if you go normal Anguish, you go dump 3, then you make Creation King and then pass on 3 interrupts. Okay, so you took a deck whose entire purpose, let's say theoretically you're right. Let's say theoretically the only thing that you're ending on is like Cranium Burst plus like, I don't know, like Creation King, add field spell pass. Let's say you're right. You are ending on 1 interrupt. 1. You're ending on a card that loses to fucking Mystical Space Typhoon. You're losing to a card that is the world's worst Appaloosa because, like, how does this card beat fucking Fiendsmith, by the way? Like, doesn't your opponent just do the fucking Fiendsmith combo and then just, like, threaten Requiem? You threaten the equip of Requiem and then you go into, like, anything? Don't you just, like, lose? So many ways to beat fucking Cranium Burst Past with, like, anything. The issue is if you start Darkblade or Bone Party, okay, see, now we're starting to add limiting factors. Like, obviously, like, you start Darkblade or Bone Party, like, what's more realistic? The fact that we're going to open like the 2 best cards in our deck, or the fact that we're forced to lead with a shitty subpar starter? What if that gets hand trapped? What if my opponent goes Fuwalos and they just imper my Anguish? Like, don't we just lose? Decks can technically have lines. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying that these lines are irrelevant. What I am saying is the fact that Fuwalos forces decks to basically cut off their own arms and legs to make the world's most crippled board just to not give your opponent draws, and your opponent just ends up going full combo anyways, and you can't even use your own Fuwalos to defend yourself because you have cards on the board and you made a board. It's like, bro, I'm fucked. The problem isn't Fuwalos. It is, but it's not that big. The problem is the next meta decks will be able to play through it. Same thing as you could play through a Dark Ruler no more in Fiendsmith, a card that was designed for going second when you were a losing player. That the reason is because Dark Ruler no more was designed to beat very specific kind of boards that existed at the time of its creation. Let's be fucking real. Nobody expected Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2017 to look like it is right now, where you're able to have so much follow-up, so many one-card combos, so much interruption in 500 different states and counties. It's like we're gonna see like Super Multcharmy Maxi maybe like 3 years from now, and we're gonna be like that we just have no concept of being able to see currently. These cards are being designed to specifically beat decks that exist in the present and near future. Will these cards always be able to beat decks in the super distant future? Of course not, because decks are, again, only going to get stronger and more layered and more bullshit as time goes on. But it's not like Dark Ruler no more just no longer sees play. It's not like Evenly Matched no longer sees play. Those are cards that are designed to beat very specific boards, and even though they're no longer as nebulous and ubiquitous in side decks as they once were, maybe at the time of their release, they still are very, very, very broken cards. And Fuwalos is one of those cards that is, at the minimum, gonna be one of the most broken fucking hand traps of all time. And by the way, half of those cards are board breakers. This is a hand trap. You know what I mean? You can't really stop a hand trap. Oh, better open Called By, I guess. Or Ash. People online saying it's a mandatory 3 in the main deck. I'm positive have seen people call it Maxi on Twitter and not done any further research into the card. Going first and you draw this? Congrats, you start with a 4-card hand. My guy, opening any hand trap is starting with a 4-card hand. Let me boot up a fucking Drytron game. Oh no, I started with a 3-card hand because I opened 2 board breakers. Oh, boo-hoo. Anyways, full fucking combo through like 2 hand traps. Better fucking have it, it, buddy. Fuck, I guess evenly is useless. When you draw it going first, I guess. Top deck Veiler, turn 2. Veiler, bad card. So real. What's wrong with it? Why won't it see play? Laughably easy to play around. Most good decks set up layered interaction to the point where they don't need to summon from the extra deck. Yeah, it'll make boards slightly weaker, but in an archetype trap and a hand trap, that's everything you have to deal with before you have one less card in hand. I want to test this theory. Alright, so we've got our Fiendsmith U-Bile set as default. Let's try not to summon out of the main deck or extra deck. We're kind of fucked. What do we do? Okay, pretend we didn't have Ash. I said pretend we didn't have Ash. Unironically, what does this hand fucking accomplish if we're under Fuwalos? Like, we can go tracked, summon this guy, and now what? Okay, we make Yama. We give our opponent a card. We add Shavara, like, set 1-for-1. Pop it. Make Rage Pass. We gave our opponent 2 cards to end on Rage set 1, dude. Oh my god, dude. I'm sorry, you can't convince me that. Like, this was a hand that was literally an FTK. 2 hand traps, engine, Fiendsmith combo. Like, how are decks ending around this? This is another one. By the way, we always draw Ash. Holy shit, are we like the new Jesus Christ? Damn. Maybe we are. Like, I don't know. Like, we make Phantom of Yubel? Normal Lotus Pass? I don't fucking know. Please explain how Yubel and Snake Eye and Fire King and Ritual Beast plays around this card. Walk me through the lines. Even if they play around it, the board is going to be weaker. You still have a +0, most likely +1, which is already enough. That does not seem right. Like, let's look at the last hand. Lotus into Spirits 1, then the Fiendsmith combo is going to be 2, 3, 4 with Desiree. Then it's going to be 5 with Phantom of Yubel. And then we do the Unchained line. That's 6 + 7. And then we make Caesar. That's 8. And we don't have Nightmare Throne, so we can't make Ferudis, unless I'm missing something. But we gave our opponent 8 cards to end on like 3 interrupts. I don't think 3 - 8 is 0. Am I trolling? And they're throwing the hand traps as they're drawing. Yeah, you're also getting hand trapped during your combo. Do they realize that these 0 to 2 interrupt boards are already ass versus 6 cards in hand? Yeah, like 6 cards in hand already fucking hose most boards if you're already playing if you're playing a meta relevant archetype like Snake Eye or whatever. If he's a good duelist, he'll just draw another Fuwaros. Oh yeah, what if he just double Fuwaroses you? Like, you're fucked. You gave your opponent 16 cards. Awesome. Skill issue, just draw called by. Damn, I'll go fuck myself. You were the better player. How many cards do you shuffle back if you end on the one guy? Okay, so you ended on 1 card. I win. You end with 7 cards in hand because Fuwaros, you only have to shuffle back to the cards your opponent control +6. So if your opponent ends on 1 card, you shuffle back until you have 7 cards in hand and you draw for turn. Yeah, I'll go fuck myself, bro. Actually true. It's so silly. I just don't understand how people don't think this card is going to be good. I think this card is going to be one of the most broken fucking pieces of bullshit, like the 21st century and beyond. That's just me. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comment section down below, and I will get to you in the next video. Bye forever.